Okay. Sima, the stage is yours.
Thanks, Einav. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us to the Roadmap Highlights webinar. In this webinar, Nili and I are going to share with you the roadmap of both products, Primo Classic and Primo VE. The highlights, the improvements and enhancements are going to be aggregated according to the 5 different categories: user experience, library empowerment, search ranking and CDI data, consortia, and accessibility. In the document itself, you will be able to find it aggregated also according to timelines. The document can be found over here in the Knowledge Center under Primo Product Materials Roadmap. There are 2 key changes that we introduced in this year's roadmap. The first, as I mentioned, we're introducing both Primo Classic and Primo VE highlights together in one document. And the second one is that now the roadmap is spanning over 18 months rather than just the 12 months that we used to do in the roadmap until now. And this change will allow us to provide you with a broader view of our vision and provide you a deeper glimpse into our long-term plans. This is a good opportunity to thank you to the community for all the contribution and collaboration with us in the past year. Hopefully it will continue as is in the upcoming year. And of course, special thank you to the Primo Working Group for the tremendous efforts and collaboration with us and for being the voice of the community. As Einav mentioned, feel free to write your questions in the chat and in the Q&A when during the session, and we'll try to address everything at the end. The first category that we're going to review is the user experience. Under the user experience, we have the following enhancements. The first one, the big one, is the next discovery experience user interface, the NDE UI. As we're getting closer to the NDE UI general release in May, Nili is going to guide us through the milestones and status. The next enhancement is the link are under the link open data. Over here in the presentation, we aggregated them together. In the document, you will be able to find them one by one. We'll discuss them more in depth really soon. The research assistant, similar way, over here, it is aggregated all together. We'll discuss them. There is an exciting integration with document insights of ProQuest Research Assistant. And we're already starting to launch the curve submissions enhancements. The first one would be the patron default sort, which is relevant for both Primo Classic and Primo VE. There are 2 more curve enhancements: the available on shelf new facet, new top level facet that is going to be introduced, and A to Z, which will be added to the database and journal searches. Nili, over to you for the NDE UI.
Thank you, Sima. So we really are excited to deliver you through the end of the first half of 25 with a May release, the NDE UI. So we are approaching the launch of the NDE UI. Let's see what is included. As already seen in other webinars, it includes, of course, new UX designs for the Primo pages, where we try to highlight and gain a lot of your feedback over the years, and also some of the idea, and embed it into this new design. It also includes adopting modern technologies. With the NDE UI, we are transitioning from the Angular JS to Angular 18, later on also to Angular 19. Of course, with this shift, it's giving us more a technology and a platform that is improved in terms of performance, in terms of security, in terms of long-term supports, and all of that aspect of adopting a new technology. It also includes the ability to deliver you with a new customization framework. We will have a dedicated customization framework for the NDE. Unfortunately, we cannot reuse or we can't run in hybrid mode your existing customization framework, and this is actually the impact on your side, your effort. We can take their existing customization framework first. The hooks that you are customized on top may be different because it's a new interface. Second, it's a chance for you to revisit your customization. Perhaps some of them are already given via configuration, as we try to see common things that you do and give that as a configuration option. And second, as we said, this is the technology. What we can ensure you that we are thinking on a way also to give you first the same capability and even more with this NDE customization framework, but we also give you, we're trying to divide action and make some actions that you tend to customize more as a configuration rather than a customization, like integration with third parties, like Bronzine. We will have also this as an option for configuration rather than a customization. More details will follow. What else that include? So in May, the general release, starting from May until the end of 25, we're working on monthly releases. So we will be able to deliver you additional enhancement post the general release more fast. So all of this in order to give you first a good starting point with the NDUI, an option to start, test, and plan your transition to the NDUI accordingly. Okay, so now with the next slides, I'm gonna highlight a bit and some notable items, notable changes, just to give you more what is coming. So if we are looking in the full records display, we will have a dedicated request area. We are splitting from the get it, the location and the request into a dedicated request area. We also simplify the request form. We tend to also to work on improving the digital, the visualization of the digital. We also will have a dedicated digital service, taking it out from the view online into a dedicated area. And later in 25, we will also going to have a new digital viewer, which will be more like in your face. When you open a digital material, the digital viewer will be up front. We are going to give you in configuration the option to expand or collapse sections, so you can define by default whether if you want the request to be always expanded, and also give a configuration for the request to show them all by default. And we just want to mention the brief records at the top. The visualization of that look the same as the brief results. More in the next slide, we can share more. If you can switch, an improved landing page. So it's gonna be more structured, more helpful for you to customize quick access links, quick links to resources in your library that you want to add. Also, post general release will give you a configuration to easily embed a showcase in the landing page. We also talk about enhanced user area, unified user area, where it includes both my library, card activity, the my request, the my loans, but also the saved records, saved searches, and search history. In the next slide, I also would like to highlight more notable changes within the main search page. You can see in the header, we are extracting the language. You don't need you won't require to customize it. The drop down, if your site have multiple language, the drop down of the language is already there and exposed. In the main menu, there will be an indication to distinguish between links that are leading to a new page within your library discovery, or a link out to external sites if you are adding an external site. In the search scope, we relocate them to be on the left of the search bar, as you can see here. We also make the facet closed by defaults, and only when needed, user can click and open that. And we also add common facet as a quick filters at the top. For the facet, we also included the summary of the facet selections to be available as well. And the brief records, grouping the record action, making them appear at the top, having the record indication next to the resource type, adding snippet, adding summary also as a configuration, make the availability line more as a call to action. So those are things that will come with the NDE UI. Okay. More things in the next slide for the collection discovery. In the collection discovery, a lot of your ideas also are going to be embedded with a new design, such as supporting list view, not only a grid view, also a list view. Improve the search, supporting search within the hierarchy and not search across all other collections. Also, supporting navigation through the collection item from the full records and adding a facet. The facet to the collection discovery will be available post the general release. And so this is in the area of the collection discovery. Now, before we'll move to the next item in the roadmap, I just want to describe you a bit more about how this process is going to be, how you get started with the NDUI. We will recommend you to initiate a new NDE view. You can duplicate an existing one. By duplicating an existing one, you are really starting with a good starting point where all of your existing configuration will be utilized. We will leverage your existing configuration, even existing labels. So you don't start necessarily from scratch. You can start from where you are and now examine and evaluate the NDE changes and new configurations. So this is how you're going to start. We would like to also make it a bit more clear what is about. This NDUI is we are considering it as an upgrade to the interface. What does it mean? It means that all of the processes, all of the workflows that you are doing within Alma to define local fields, local resource type, importing external sources, all of the data related services and workflows in Alma that you are doing for your Primo VE today remains the same. And so if you have something configured, a local facet that isn't configured, it will be reflected in the NDUI. So this is the starting point for you for the NDUI, where all of the knowledge you gain with Primo VE data related to workflow remains the same. And of course, as we are talking about shifting to the interface and also shifting to a modern technology like the Angular 18, the impact on you will be on the customization, and we are going to deliver a new ND customization framework, and we'll talk about more in the upcoming month what is required, so what can be done by library staff, what will require being an Angular, developing Angular skills. So this is how to start and what is the impact. As I mentioned, post the general release, we are going to support you with ongoing monthly releases as we are planning to deliver enhancement also post the general release. We'll conduct and host webinars to support and give you feedback. And of course, your feedback will be very helpful as we are going to do based on your feedback, also deliver an improvement. And I think that is where we are with the NDUI and what I wanted to share. And next,
Thanks, Nili. Also under the category of user experience, the link open data enhancements. The first enhancement that is related to the link open data is additional vocabularies that we are going to include. It is going to be released in February. Just a reminder about what link open data in Primo VE is. The link open data in Primo VE meets the user in few prominent places during his journey in Primo VE. The first one is the autocomplete, where person suggestions are being displayed. The second one is the info cards, the related persons to this particular bibliographic record, and the person page that displays information about the person and linkage to different persons, and of course the most important, to bibliographic records. With the link open data, we are getting serendipity search connectivity for our search to provide more complete search to the user. Until now, the match point of the flows that I just described was the LC, the Library of Congress ID. And for sites that are using different vocabularies and not LC, they couldn't really use the link open data in Primo VE. That's why we decided to enhance the link open data functionality, so headings that are linked to different vocabularies and not just LC will be able to get the link open data functionality. On our side, the match point is still the LCID, but using the VIAF, Virtual International Authority file, we're expanding the mapping and we are able to support much more vocabularies such as GND, BNF, NLI, and you can find the full list in the documentation. This is going to be released in February release. The next enhancement for the link open data is supporting data sources in additional languages. The interfaces that I described that are related to the link open data are currently being displayed in English. We will work on expanding it to additional languages to have additional the data from Wikidata also in additional languages. The last enhancement that is related to the link open data is using ORCID ID in CDI. The end goal will be we plan to strengthen the link open data functionality using the ORCID ID integration, but we'll do it in phases. Initially, during the upcoming year, we will add ORCID IDs to the CDI records. Today, there is already some coverage for CDI records that are linked, those records are linked to ORCID. They have updated ORCID IDs, and they are indexed on record level. We would like to increase this coverage to expand it to as many records as possible and also link it to persons based on ORCID ID. When eventually, in 2026, we'll be able to enhance the patron-facing functionality for link open data based on the ORCID ID. And with this, we'll provide more accurate and more comprehensive search for the user. We're moving on to the next area, also under user experience category, which is the research assistant enhancements. The first enhancement related to the research assistant is the refined search, which is already available in February release. We would like to allow the users to refine, to filter, to segment somehow the search that the user is doing in the research assistant. As the first phase, we decided to segment it based on two attribute types. The first one is the resource type, where the optional values would be book, article, and peer review. And according to dates, when the values are last 12 months, last 5 years, last 10 years, and custom date. There will be two options to apply the manual filtering. The refined search. The first one is manually, when you can see over here the refine button. Clicking on it will open the refine drawer where the user will be able to select the relevant options from these drop-downs. Another way to apply refined search is automatically, adding the relevant wording, the relevant text to the question itself, as in this example where I added based on books from 2020 to 2024. The next enhancement under Research Assistant is the addition of how to cite indication. We got a lot of feedback from you, from the community, about the need to indicate, to explain the user how to cite AI materials, as Research Assistant is not similar to any other traditional materials that they're citing. And AI has its own citation guidelines. That's why we added this indication on the screen, where this will be per configuration, and you will be able to edit there any text and link out to any page that you would like. It can be used for citations, but it can be used generically to any other instructions or guidelines that you would like to provide your end users. Another enhancement is the reposition of sources to be placed above the overview. As our narrative is that the research assistant is a starting point for the research to begin with, and the focus is not primarily on the answer itself, but rather on the sources. That's why we decided to reposition the sources and the overview, and to encourage the user to see first the sources and to explore beyond the research assistant. We're moving on to the next enhancement under the user experience, which is also using AI capabilities, the integration with document insights. For mutual customers of ProQuest and Primo, they will be able to see insights for their ProQuest articles. They will get an indication on the screen, on the record level, and an ability to go and view the insights which were generated by ProQuest before even downloading or reviewing the source. It will save time for the users by delivering them the key information, for example, key takeaways, concepts, research topics, and other things that the ProQuest document insights are providing. We're moving on to the first curve enhancement, which will be delivered in February, the patron default sort. Until now, the sort by selection was always going by default to relevance. When the user selected sort by value and then ran another question and another query in Primo, the sort by was always getting back to relevance. With this enhancement, the selection will be sticky and it will be persistent cross searches and also cross sessions. This will be relevant for Primo Classic, Primo VE existing UI, and of course also the NDE UI. Neely, over to you for more curve enhancements.
So the next curve enhancement that we will be delivering with the second half in 25 is introducing a new top-level facet. We'll call it available on the shelf. Today, we are supporting the held by library facet, which actually give you the option to filter by item that physically held by the library, that the library holds. It doesn't necessarily reflect in real time what is available on the shelf. This is why with the request from the community, a new top-level facet will be available, calculating behind the scenes the availability on the shelf, calculating the item status, and allow user to filter for what is currently available, what physical resources are currently available, give user more accurate results. So we are going to introduce that, and we are going to give you also a configuration. We give you a configuration where you can determine which libraries and location we should include while we are doing this item status calculation. So this is one aspect. Another aspect that we want to share is this enhancement. While we'll be more close to the implementation, we will examine how the implementation of this is enhancement affect the performance of the real-time indexing and the full-time indexing that we have twice a year. And if we see that there is a significant delay, we will mention that for you while you will enable the feature, so you will know in a disclaimer that having that will affect that. We hope we won't get that, but this is also something that we'll work on. That we'll need to check how to scale it to all of you. Next is another enhancement coming from Curve is the request to add the A to Z. We tried in Primo VE to provide you with the autocomplete functionality that is supposed to give while you are typing, give the suggestions, the database suggestion or journal suggestion based on your type, but we understand that users are familiar while going into database search and journal search, and also from other products that delivering that capability. So users are familiar and want that capability of selecting a letter and then getting all of the database associated. This is why we are going to deliver this A to Z bar underneath the search bar. We will also give you the option to include, in addition to the A to Z, also the numbers, 0 to 9. Clicking on that will deliver all of the database or journals that are starting with the number. And you will be able to select which language to show them. It will be subject to the language that you are supporting in your patron facing. So you can include only what is available for your patrons over there. So this is regarding to the A to Z. Next, moving next slide, we are switching to the category of the library empowerment. I would like to share with you more information in a dedicated slides about what is the meaning of having a new analytics platform using the Mixpanel. So I'll explain that in a few minutes. In addition to that, under the category of the library empowerment, we also are going to give support in discovery for those sites that are using the Dublin Core application profile. We'll call it a DCAP. So very similar today that we are supporting Dublin Core or Unimark in the manage and display local feeds. We also are going to add a support for the DCAP. So those of you that are using the Dublin Core application profiles and defining custom DC fields, now with this enhancement, you will be able also to determine how it affects your discovery in terms of how it will be displayed in discovery and how it's going to be searched, and also if it's going to be appear in the facets. So this is coming with that enhancement. Additional proof of concept that we are going to do is giving you more flexibility with the out-of-the-box normalization rules. We are going to start with specific fields and try to see how to define a workflow where you can mark that those fields will you won't get the out-of-the-box normalization rules that we determine, but give you an option to override our OTB and custom your own rules for that field. So it's going to be a proof of concept for a specific field, as I mentioned, and we'll work more closer to the design with the working group to make it available. And we also going to add the curve for the DI term tool that Sima will elaborate. Now, with the next slide, I'd like to give you more information about the user engagement analytic, the Mixpanel. Earlier this month, we did a webinar. A lot of you participate in that webinar. And
Apologize.
yes,
Something ran 1 second.
it's okay. So earlier this month we did some a webinar to give you insights of what is Mixpanel all about and give you workflows over there. I'd like to give it under the scope. So as part of the NDE, and as part of the Next Discovery experience, as part of the NDE UI, we are going to provide you this new analytics platform integrating Mixpanel for that. Why did we choose Mixpanel? We choose it because it's dynamic. It gives you much more options of dynamic option as you wish along the year. It's going to give you a very interactive insight. It give you an overview of the user journeys and help you to get understanding how users are engaged with the library discovery. So just to give you on the scope, whenever you decide to start examining the NDUI on your production, this will be a good starting point for you to approach us, and we'll create a project for you in Mixpanel. So while you start with NDUI on your production, you will also start using the Mixpanel on top of the new UI, the NDUI. If you move to the next slide, Sima, I'd like to share with you more what will you get. So once you are on board with NDUI, as I mentioned, you will get a dedicated a dedicated project in Mixpanel. And this is like a central place where all of your institution data is aggregated to, and you can, based on that, have create reports and boards. We will also give for each institution, for each library staff in the institution, an admin access, so where you can invite other users from the library to view reports or create based on those roles. And we will also gonna feed you with out-of-the-box boards designed specifically for the NDUI, so you can have a good starting point, and you can start see the actions and the behavior of your user using our out-of-the-box boards, where you can go ahead and tailor them or create your own. We also gonna build a shared project where you can share, if you are a tailor, your own board. If you'd like to share it with the community, you can go ahead and copy and duplicate your board into a shared project for others to duplicate it from. This project will also where we are going to feed updates to the OTB boards. And of course, documentation, you will know what events we are reporting from the NDUI application, and more training and more webinars to help you start with a good starting point. Okay, next to you, Sima.
The next enhancement, also under library empowerment, is the DEI term tool. Currently, the DEI term tool, as you can see it at the bottom, it's an open field where the administrator enters any phrases or words that they find inappropriate or offensive in any way, and those terms or words are being removed from the subjects in the display field in full record page and from the subjects in the facets. With the curve enhancement, we have three parts of it. The first part is enhancing it with kind of contains wildcard functionality enhancement. Currently, the behavior is taking the phrases as is and removing them, and this will allow it to be more dynamic and more robust. The second part of this enhancement is a new mode of substitution. Currently, the behavior is to remove the offensive or inappropriate words or terms. With this new mode, we will be able to replace the word or phrase with different phrase. This will be available for the display section, the subjects in the display. The third part of it is adding a new icon or indication for a word or phrase as indication for DEI sensitive. So the words that the administrator defines as inappropriate or offensive, but they don't want to remove them or to replace them, those will be indicated with this dedicated new icon. We're moving on to the next category of search, ranking, and CDI data. The first exciting enhancement under this category is the natural language search. It is the ability for the user to use semantic search, and the Primo V will provide the standard results as the user is used to. But they won't need to write in the schematic traditional way they used to right now. The second enhancement is for link open data using ORCID ID in CDI, which I just described in the user experience category under all the link open data enhancements. The third enhancement under search ranking and CDI data is the mark title as suppressed when there are no inventory and relations. This is a mutual enhancement for Alma and Primo. It is a curved submission on Alma side. There will be an automatic suppression of bibliographic records when there are no inventory and no relations. This will be regardless of the suppress status that appears as an I in Alma, and it will ensure that the catalog remains accurate and displays only currently available resources in Discovery. The last enhancement over here in this slide is the Thai language support. And like many other languages, Thai does not use spaces between words. And with this enhancement, your library's users that search for words or phrases in Thai will get search results that meet their expectations of native Thai speakers. Neely, over to you for more enhancements under the search ranking and CDI category.
Sure. So we will have also the curve of improving the advanced search equal and exact phrase. So the exact title matching, we are going to improve it and give you more configuration to fit the matching based on your needs. We'll have a dedicated slide to explain more. Snippets for local records full text. Today we are supporting snippets for records coming from the CDI, Central Discovery Index. We are going also to support that for local records. Improving and refinement for the subject heading normalizations. We are continue with this project, and based on feedback from the community, we are going to handle complex subject heading. I will explain in more in a dedicated slide. Also in the area of the CDI, the second resource type for in-press or online first article, here we're going to do is we are going to handle the specific workflow with some of the publishers may post journal articles as only when they are accepted. So it means that those articles are considered to be early view, or as we mentioned here, online first. So we would like to give them a secondary resource type, name it as online first. And we would like to have that in order for us to be able to treat them more properly in terms of the linking issue. Today, our rights processing mechanism is generating links based on the availability, based on the journal coverage. So as long as those articles that are posted and they are new in their first 6 months, they are new, not necessarily assigned for a specific journal issues. As today, users are facing linking issue. With this project, with this enhancement, we would like to identify them as mark them as a secondary resource type to help with that. So more in the area of the book reviews, we are going to improve the way to tweak a bit the rule to identify how book reviews, so meaning that we will identify if there is a book review within the title, we tweak that rules to identify, or if there is an ISBN already in the title. So more handling, more improvement on that area. Okay, next, to go into more details.
And now about the natural language search. So as I mentioned, the user will be able to write in using semantic search instead of the schematic search that we are used to. This will be an optional search in addition to the existing search, and it will be developed in Primo and the EUI. You can see over here in the screen the new indication. This is just an initial mock-up, not the final plan yet. This new indication will open a new overlay where the user will be able to insert and write their question in natural language. Once clicking on submit or also recording the question, the user will be taken to the standard brief results page as any other query in Primo. The interesting thing here that they will be also getting view generated query button. Clicking on this one will show the Boolean query that was generated based on the semantic search that the user just inserted. We see that it is quite useful to show the generated query in the Research Assistant, where we are getting great feedback about this button of view all results that take the user to Primo with the generated Boolean query. Using the semantic search, it will provide the user with more intuitive search experience. Nili, for the next curve submission.
Yes, so for that, for the exact matching, we would like to better accurate the way that the title exact matching with the operator that we are providing, the equal exact search, is working. So after we released that, we got feedback from the customers to improve. Today, when we are doing the exact matching, we are actually doing a match against the title, the fields 2, 4, or 5 with subfield A and subfield B, where they are both combined. So this is the exact matching that we are doing. For some sites, it was not enough, and they'd like also for us to do the matching against only subfield A. So in order to solve that, we are going to offer a configuration for you to decide whether you would like to have the matching against the combination or also support the other flavors. So we're going to give it and to go and give this as a configuration. You can see here as an example that provided from a customer. Well, you're doing this title search for this do, as you see here. Today, this record that you can see here was not retrieved. As you can see in the marked record, we did the match against the combination of do and the $B, the phrase in $B altogether. So this record was not retrieved. After we'll do this enhancement, we will match against also that flavor only by subfield A, and this record will be able to retrieve as well. So this is regarding the advanced search. In the next slide, I also would like to give more and to elaborate more about the refinement that we're doing for the subject heading. Mainly as a feedback from the community, we understand that we need to better handle complex subject ending, so we can ensure that a full authorized subject heading will be treated good while researchers are searching for display or filter by the entire authorized subject. And I can explain using that example, as you can see here. You can see here the example of a fully authorized heading that we today recognize only as the Japanese Americans as an authorized subject, and the rest of the sentence starting from the forced removal is treated as keywords and not necessarily the entire, not necessarily having both pieces, as you can see here, treated as an authorized heading. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to better handle this complex subject heading and treat them as a fully authorized subject heading, as you can see here. So this is the project with the subject heading. Next, back to you, to the next category.
Thanks, Nili. Under the Consortia category, we have the following three enhancements. We acknowledge, first of all, that consortia institutions have their own and unique workflows where the central office is managing a lot of configuration on behalf of the different institutions. During the last year, there was a joint effort with ALMA team in order to develop the consortia management dashboard, which has its a huge value in two areas. The first one is the management, the ability to control, to configure all the different settings in one place, having one-stop shop in this dashboard instead of having to go to the different ALMA of the different institutions one by one. And another aspect where the consortium management dashboard is extremely helpful is the inheritance. There are additional inheritance options presented there. So the first two enhancements will be in the area of the consortium management dashboard. The first one is having the labels table distribution as row by row distribution and not as a whole table as we currently have. We had some discussions with the consortia focus group to understand which areas in the dashboard are most important for them to enhance and improve. And this was one of the two selected. The second one is in the Manage Local and Displayed field menu. The first phase of it was adding this menu into the consortia management dashboard. And the second phase, which will be developed later, is the distribution options in it, when the emphasis was to have a distribution options for the not only for the normalization rules of the local field, but also the distribution of the normalization rules for the display field. The third enhancement under the consortia category is allowing flexibility with shared digital materials in consortia. Currently, when institutions within a network share their digital assets, these resources are included in both the network scope, but also in the individual institution scopes. And with this enhancement, it will allow institutions to exclude shared digital resources from their local institution scopes, and by that, to improve the clarity of their own records.
Okay, for the accessibility. For the accessibility for the existing interface for your production sites, as today we've recently updated a new VPAT. You can go ahead and check that. This one is complied with that standard 2.1, and we also publish with that accessibility roadmap as we continue to maintain ongoing fixes to the accessibility. Also, with the general release in May, we also gonna provide a VPAT that is dedicated to the NDUI. We're going to provide an initial VPAT. We are soon going to start an audit on top of the NDUI, on top of the pages that are existing on the already developed in the NDUI. So we'll also have a new initial VPAT, and we'll probably get also issues to fix, and this will define the NDUI accessibility roadmap as well. We're going to go ahead and do it with the WCAG 2.2. We also try to work by design, sending prototypes to accessibility, implementing with the development, but working with the Angular theme palette, so to create also supporting the color contrast and all of that. But we know that all of that have a lot of aspects, so we going to have with the general release an initial VPAT more closer to that, and also a roadmap defined with the help of DECU, which is the external accessibility company that we are working. And I think that this is also a good time to switch to questions, as we have a lot of questions coming. Some of them we try to answer.
Lily, would you like to start from the NDUI questions? There are a lot.
Yes, I can start. So I see. Okay, let's start. So what sensitive technology would the NDUI be compatible? Yeah, it's gonna be compatible with JAWS and NVDA. I'm not sure regarding to the voiceover. We need to check that as well. More questions with the NDE. I just maybe we'll start for the NDE. Yeah, I'm also getting. I also see and try to answer questions about the NDE, whether it appear in the same URL or how we're going to treat your URL. What will be happen to your permalink that already saved and stored? So I mentioned we are going to have a new URL. Mean we are going to replace the discovery in your path to NDE. This approach will help you work in parallel while your Primo VE in production is working in parallel to your NDE view, and you can go ahead and start and test the NDE view while you at the moment you decide you are ready for go live. We will have a switch to live a button and screen where you will be able to redirect from that moment. Every entry with your discovery, your path today, will be redirected to your NDE. That means your permalink will be redirected. If you search to your email all the URL, it will be redirected. So we can support you and ensure maximize support of your existing saved URL or saved searches. So this is regarding to the NDE. Let's go ahead and see. This is regarding the URL. I'm sorry, I'm just scanning. One of the questions at the beginning was, will we have be able to configure brief record display fields separately from the full fields in the NDE? So as mentioned, the brief record display and the full record in the full records and in the brief results, the same components is applied. If you want to have additional fields, you can have it in the detail display, but this is at the moment how it's been designed. One of the questions was a view that has external data load. Do you have to reload the data? As I emphasize, all of that data reload, all of the data related workflows remains the same. It doesn't need re-indexing, doesn't need in reloading or the data. Is there any work that needs to be done to migrate collections in Primo VE collection discovery features? So I think that we mainly would like your collection to be the same. I think that we'll need to check if the collections thumbnail of the images will look the same and look nicely in the NDUI. So this is something to check. Okay, maybe Sima, you can go ahead with the link open data, and then I'll try to identify more questions regarding to the NDE.
Okay, I'm reading the following question. I have a question regarding link open data, support for data sources in additional languages. At the moment, it looks like it's scheduled for 2025 H2. Does this mean it will be included in the August or November release? The lack of support for non-English speakers is preventing us from activating this long-awaited feature. We totally understand and acknowledge the importance of translating those pages and having support for local languages. We are doing all our efforts to release it as soon as we can. We cannot commit yet. Our roadmap is built on the definition of H1 and H2. We don't have the precise definition per major releases yet. The next question is, will development using ORCID ID in ALMA records also be supported? We generally have similar data, we use similar data storage and similar data models, and we have mutual meetings to discuss our precise plans. This is one of the plans that we're going to discuss soon. I'm not sure that they have it on the roadmap for the upcoming year, but sometimes we're doing it gradually. Primo starts and then Alma comes, and the opposite way. For link open data results on the author card, how are the entries sorted? In some author cards, there are minor works that show up first, with the major works placed much farther in the browse. Okay, so I'll explain shortly the logic. There are two carousels inside a person page. The first one is the titles in library written by this person, and the second one is titles in the library written about this person. For the titles written by this person, we return all the bibliographic records where the LC ID appears as either creator or contributor, and this is sorted by date and displaying up to 25 records. For the second carousel of title in the library written about this person, we return also 25 results when we focus on the LCID that appears as a subject. And again, the sort is by date. And this is the reason for the order that you see. If you see some anomaly or something that doesn't look correct, please open a support ticket for that. I'm looking for more questions.
I can answer in the meantime. The advanced search enhancement, supporting also for Unimark, we didn't develop. We can consider that as well, of course. I'd like also, until you find the more, there were questions about semantic search, Sima. I'd like also to emphasize timeline of the NDUI. As I see, there was a question over there. In February, we are working and opening the NDE for a closed list of customers. Please do not confuse those customers that when the registered volunteers, early adopters with the February release, give us our field testing and input and feedback. It's good. For the rest of the community, there is the NDE will be available on your environment with the May release. What does it mean? It means you can start evaluate it. It doesn't mean that necessarily you need to be tight. You have the time to go ahead and plan your transition, but you can go ahead and have a sneak peek to that NDE UI. There are some customers that already registered to get access in March. In March, there will be an option to get access not on your environment, but only for those that really want to evaluate earlier before May, for a generic trial environment that we are holding. Just as a demo, it won't include a lot of the support. It's just for you to evaluate what is required for you to do customization. But mainly with the May release, it will be open for all of you to go ahead and start and initiate an ND review. This is something that I want to emphasize. Okay, there is 1 minute. Sima,
Sure, I'll answer a few more. There is a question about natural language search. Is the natural language search using AI to parse the user's query similar to the research assistant? Yeah, so the first part of the research assistant behind the scenes is actually doing this exact conversion, taking the semantic search, the natural language search, and converting it behind the scenes into Boolean query. So this part is very similar to what we plan in the natural language search. The thing is the research assistant is searching over CDI and not over local and other resources, when the natural language search is getting to the heart, let's say, of Primo, and in addition to the traditional search, we're allowing the user to search in the standard way to see the standard results, but based on semantic search. There is a question that repeated about the need in the will this automatic marking of titles as suppressed when there is no inventory or relations be controlled by an option customer setting? So it was not designed yet. It is a design that needs to be done together with the Alma team, but we'll raise it that a configuration is needed over there. And I think we are running out of time. So thank you so much. We hope you will find these enhancements beneficial, and thank you for joining us.
Right.